Hi, I'm Kristan Erner with the City Savvy Show. I'm doing this podcast for the first time. I'm having a guest that is very important, near and dear to my heart. I'm doing the show because I want to present new content and a new perspective to who I am, not just Kristan the realtor, but Kristan the person that has a lot more substance than just real estate knowledge. I've decided to do this podcast monthly for now, just to see how much people react to it. If they like it, great, we'll do it more often. If you want certain subjects, you can just leave me messages, and I would be happy to talk about them. Today, I've decided to have my first guest, and my first guest is Cathy Missios. Now, Cathy she's an entrepreneur. She's a real go-getter. I like to call her a little bit of she has a hustle, and this hustle is just awesome. It's just gone from, the fashion industry to nutrition, to being a mother of two wonderful children that are I call them my nieces. She's an entrepreneur, and I'm an entrepreneur. And I thought, what better person to have than Cathy Missios? She grew up in a family with a mom and dad, and they had restaurants, they had businesses. And so she knows struggles. She knows, the positives, the goods, the ins and outs of life. And it's not always easy for all of us. And so Cathy, I'm so happy that you decided to say yes and to come on to my podcast, because you are, to me, an inspiration. Really, women are a positive part of my life. Of course, my mom, my wife, my two daughters. I do have a son as well. But you, with your two children, are just amazing. I can't believe what you've accomplished. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know that you have a company, and tell us what you do.
First of all, thank you very much. I'm so honored to be your first guest. I'm literally breaking you in for others. And, I don't know if it's that you allowed me, or as I just kept whining and knocking and hustling your door until you finally opened it up. Kristan and I, of course, go way back. But I mean, more than that, you're a person that I admire for your integrity, and your, what a great father you are, and what a great husband you are. So, and now about me. Let's spend some time about me. I am a woman with hustle. I'm a woman that had to reinvent myself many times. And, my latest venture, if you will, has come out of my love for fitness, nutrition. And I like to sort of think of myself as sort of a diet concierge or a fairy godmother to women that do too much and need to be reminded that, they are important, and to put themselves, high up in the queue so that they can continue to take care of others. And you, a man that has been raised by a very strong woman, and, surround yourself continuously with very strong women, in your personal and business life, it's a natural evolution that we would be sitting here talking today.
Right. And I'll tell you, the truth of the matter is you've given me a lot of inspiration in my business and my drive, and just watching you build your business and do your thing. It's been crazy. It's been wonderful. We talked about how we would do this. Would this be fun? Would we just be chatting? And I think that's the great part of this, is that we are just chatting. We're family, we're family that feeds off of it. We really feed off of each other. And we've I came into your life in 1985, and that's, I'm a lot older than that. I was 15 at the time. But I hadn't known my father, but my father was your uncle. And And then I met your marvelous father, who was
Who you remind me so much of, like his
right.
good qualities.
Right, absolutely, and your dad, I remember him in the Fido ads,
Yeah.
which was fantastic, and I love the fact that I share the same bloodline with you folks, because it is just amazing. When my father passed, and I went through all the boxes of stuff, and just to find out where I came from was amazing, and then when you and I did business together, and I sold your home that you love so much, and I really got to know you with your children, and I'll tell you, it was an emotional time for you. It was an emotional time for your children, but I saw the strength in you, and you are this cheerleader for everybody. I mean, it's not just people you coach, but just people in life, everybody that you meet, anyone that you touch, you kind of are this rah, get moving, and you make people feel positive. I'm looking over at my business partner, and she's nodding her head over there saying, yes, Cathy is just this positive person. So what is it that you do for others to keep them motivated?
Wow, that's such a great question. I think sometimes when my resilience or my confidence or my positivity comes from a lifetime of basically screwing things up. I think that sometimes when you mess things up, and even though I'm a holistic nutritionist, I'm going to use penicillin as an example. Penicillin was a mistake. It wasn't really supposed to happen. And yet, it did end up helping a lot of people. Sometimes I have taken a few missteps in life, and it has taught me that, I remember one time going through something and walking by a mirror and thinking, wow, a nervous breakdown doesn't look as bad as I thought it was supposed to look like. And, I say that with tongue in cheek. And obviously anyone going through any type of, struggles that way, I send my heart and my love to them. But, sometimes we're going through things, and they teach us about the resilience that's inside us. And that's what I've used to sort of, recreate myself many times. I started off, as you mentioned, I started off in the natural gas industry briefly after university. Then I worked in fashion. I was an on-air spokesperson in PR and marketing for Winners. So I really know my demographics, like Canadian women. I got you, girls. Like, I'm your girl, right? I know like where to shop, where to get the deals, but also how to take care of yourself from the inside out. So when coaching women and working on positivity and working on goals, we look at what we want, the outcome to where we want to go. And then we look at which behaviors we need to sort of change to get there. And, sometimes that can happen very quickly, but most of the times it doesn't go like that. And most of the times it comes along the way with meeting a number of obstacles. Because, we're not just a woman out there to get some abs and, grab some chicken and keep going. We've got families to take care of. We have our bosses, our own businesses, whatever responsibilities we have. And it's about finding balance, right? And that's the key. You know it because I know you and I have often shared our love for Peloton, and, you can't just do one activity all the time. That won't be good for you. You need variety, and you need to challenge your body, your mind, and your muscles in different ways.
Right.
So I think life gives you a little bit of that. So my positivity comes from experience, but, a bit of resilience, and, just having a bit of fun along the way.
What is the most common hurdle do most of your clients have that you find?
Most of my clients sometimes trip themselves up with, resorting back to, I think this is common when you're trying to make a change. When you go, we want the path of least resistance. So, sometimes not planning ahead, sometimes the simplest, if they're trying to lose weight, they're hungry, so they just grab whatever's in front of them, as opposed to getting ahead of the hunger, feeding your body,
right?
Building the muscles so you can eat more. And I always talk about aging with vitality. That's super important to me. And that's something I try to convey to women. I got my best results in my 40s. And so then I went back to school. It was just before my 50th birthday. So I did a 2-year program in 1 year, became a holistic nutritionist, and also did a bikini bodybuilding competition.
Amazing.
So, yeah, so go ahead, wait and see what I'm going to do for my 60th.
Wow. I'm impressed. I saw a picture on your Instagram with my aunt, your mom, and your mom she looks amazing. It's unbelievable.
She really has. My mom has aged well, and I think I get a lot of my positivity from my mom.
Right.
I think that, she has really, my mom is very much, the matriarch, and she is very much a lady. And I think that generation really knew how to honor that. But one of the things my mother did not necessarily do well for herself was she was so geared on her family. She also worked full time. So sometimes balance got her to the point where sometimes illness would set in. And so I think that going forward, I tried to learn from that to take care of myself. And like you said, I have hustle, so I work all the time.
Right.
Work feeds my soul, but trying to find balance and all that. That's, I think, my biggest challenge.
So what is the core of you? What is the core of Cathy Missios? What drives you?
Oh, my kids, right? Everything I do is for my kids, even though I just yelled at them 20 minutes ago. But, that was done with love, trust me. We've all had those moments.
Right.
So it drives me. I want to do better so that I can leave a legacy to my children. I want to be able to one day them tell stories about how great mom did it, or how one of the things that I do with my kids that I'm most proud of is I've always done I get them to give me a report card. I know it sounds crazy, huh? Right. And trust me, it can be I've failed a few times. And, it is them telling me what I can do better. And ever since they were little, I wanted them to feel empowered, and I wanted them to feel part of, I need to be held accountable to them too. And they once said to me, one of the things that's different about me and other parents is just because I'm a mom, doesn't mean that I think that I'm correct. So that's something I've really tried to learn from. And, look, the type of stuff that they told me I needed to do better at were things like I needed to let go a little bit, let them take the bus. It was totally safe until they started taking the bus and they got cold and they wanted me to pick them up. But, stuff like that. I think kids need to be empowered.
Certainly brave, actually, of you to ask them. I am afraid to ask my 3 kids how they,
go ahead.
Give a report card for me. I don't know how I would do. I think it would fail, right? But
you'd be surprised, right?
Right.
Kids pick up on the whole positivity and how they deliver the message. Really surprised me just how gentle they were. Mind you, each one of my kids have different personalities, but my older daughter, Victoria, who wants to be a French teacher, she was really cute. She's like, Mommy, I think you could do a little bit better with, and she was little at the time. Now it's straight to the point. Now it's a little bit different. It's a different conversation now because I have 2 young women in the house.
Right. So that's going to be my my on my agenda for tomorrow when I see the children to do a report card for me and see how I do. I'll have to report to you on that one. That's fabulous. It really is a great idea.
It's a great idea. Ask them how you're doing, but ask them where they think you should improve your parenting style.
But that's accountability, right? That's what you're all about.
And I'm an accountability coach.
Right.
So if you got a goal, honey, you call me and I make sure it happens. Right. And that being said, I don't have a magic wand. Ultimately, my success is definitely all about how the people I'm working with, if they're doing well, then we're doing well. Otherwise my ship is sinking. Right.
Well, so, and that's part of it. I mean, we have to trip over our own selves before we become better at what we actually do.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you've had a couple of, downs where you've, fallen down but you've often picked yourself up, but you've learned and you've become who you are, which is super impressive, right? It's unbelievable. And what kind of program do you have? You have a coaching program that's 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks? How does that work?
12
12 weeks.
Yes,
Wow.
I'll be
3
coming to
months.
BFF for 12 weeks. It's you and
Wow.
me, one-on-one,
Wow.
making things happen. And,
Wow.
and one of the things I do with them is right from the beginning, I say, what type of coach do you want? Do you want me up your ass 24/7, or do you want someone just sort of a couple times a week? There is one time a week that we do a one-on-one call, but it's all based around 4 pillars. I don't think anything in life will change without, in my case, it's nutrition, it's moving your body, it's the correct supplements to take, and also the mindset. The mindset was the place that for me was that was the golden ticket. That was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's when I won. When I finally got everything in my head on correctly, then I was able to knock my goals out of the park. Oh, but that being said, my bikini bodybuilding competition, I just want to tell you, I did get a medal, but I got 5th of 5 people. That's right, I came in last. But I still won. You know what I mean? Like I still felt like I won. I was so happy because I saw it to the end. And so when I work with people, it is, back to your point, 12 weeks. And it is a transformation from the inside out. And that's why you'll never see a picture on my Instagram page of transformations, because I don't think you can capture the actual transformation. Because when that mindset changes and you see yourself the way I see you, well, then, it's another story.
Right. Absolutely. And you're, so is this a resemblance of your day? Like basically the way you take care of yourself, starting from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed at night, is this kind of a mirror of yourself?
Yeah, it very much is. Like, it's funny you should say that, because I was just actually talking to my coach, and we were talking about, letting people into your day per se. I really do live what I believe. I believe in balance. I believe in working with what works for you. When I work out, it is stuff that I love, as opposed to, dreading the workout. I've switched to intermittent fasting because I do feel that for myself, for aging and my natural clock, it works better. But there are some people that they can still lose weight doing small multiple meals. That's the type of thing we would address. But me, I get up, I start my day with a bit of meditation and my quiet time. Sometimes that's just online shopping, though, I will admit. And then from there, I usually do some admin work that I have for my business. And then at 10 o'clock, 5 to 6 days a week, I work out. And then I go back to client calls and work and all that sort of fun stuff.
Right. And so when you say you work out at 10 o'clock
every morning,
but then, you have your clients.
But I have my rest days.
You have your rest days, absolutely. But we talk about, and I've talked about with my coaching, and we talk about the biology of your body and what's, the best time. Like I worked out before I came and did the show today. It was early this morning and my body just was not having it. So my question to you is, if you say, oh, okay, you should be working out at 10 o'clock, do you work what's best for your client's body? Like if the biology says, okay, it's better to work out at 3 o'clock, which is my time. Right. Do you kind of work around that?
Absolutely. And right. I'm not going and training them, just so we're clear on that.
Absolutely.
All my stuff is online. And the training part of my program is designed by a personal trainer. But, I believe you got to work with the person. Some people are complete night owls. I do recommend that people don't necessarily work out too late at night, because you don't want to start messing with your sleep. I'm a huge proponent of sleep hygiene. But working out later in the day is great. Although I will tell you, sometimes just to challenge myself, I will work out at a different time just to challenge my muscles and just show them that it is, we're doing something different, and just to, amp up my game, I guess, if you will. I went through a horrible accident last June. So I ended up dislocating my shoulder and fracturing it. So I lost a lot of my muscle mass. So now I'm still very much on the healing stage, unfortunately, a year later. But as my physiotherapist will allow, I'm starting slowly. I'm hoping this time next year. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what's interesting is like here I am 53, about to turn 54. And like I still plan on knocking it out of the park.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's just, once I get the go ahead, now I sound like an old lady. Once I get the old go ahead from my doctor. Oh my God, we're at that age.
That's funny. No, but you know what? You keep on moving. It's like a car. If a car sits, we got a car for the kids, and it's a 11-year-old car with only 32,000 kilometers on it, but the whole underside is all rusted and it's seized. And if you don't move, if a car sits and does nothing, it doesn't matter how little it's been driven. The more we drive ourselves, I suppose, the more that we move, the less we're going to stiffen up. So I think fantastic to keep on moving. I think you're a great example, and you're certainly a great motivator. Now after the 12 weeks, sorry, I don't mean to flip flop, but after the 12-week program is up, do you have clients that come back to you a year later, or is this something that it's set now?
I do have some clients on maintenance. So they'll check in with me once a month just to let me know, like they just feel that they need the accountability to keep themselves going. Part of my program is like the goal is that they never need me again. So I do provide them with, like, on a weekly basis, material to educate them on proper nutrition and aging with vitality, aging. My goal is that you feel better in your next decade than your last. So I try to provide that to them, but some people like the check-in. And like, I get it, because any change I've ever made in my life, I did it with a coach.
Right.
So I just think it's that level of accountability.
Right.
It's like I wouldn't sell my house on my own, right? Like, it's just like, why not go to a professional, right?
That'd be silly.
Really? You want to tell me about that? I mean, maybe I might if I get the right money, but no.
Right.
Yeah, right. No. But like, I mean, you leave certain things to the professional. I also, wouldn't trust, my hair color to like a non-professional. There's nothing wrong with seeking out guidance, but always qualify the people that you're picking, because, especially when you're talking about a coach, I think the 5 people you speak to on a daily basis influence you quite a bit, and your coach, sometimes becomes part of those 5 people, depending on what level of communication you've chosen. Communication in anything is key.
Right. And you say 5 people, so your children included, and then your coach, and then whoever else you deal with. Those are your
my imaginary friends. Yeah.
Your friends, right? Yeah. And then your puppy, your dog, and
yeah. That's enough. Like, I mean, you don't really need a lot around you. You just it's really about quality of who you're surrounding yourself. And that's one thing. Like, it's funny, when I was doing the bikini competition, I became just so in touch with my spiritual side that I had a lot of bit of fat to get off me. So as I was carving that, I was spending a lot of time doing cardio. And I mean, just keep in mind, that's not what I would recommend to a client. I had a very different goal. But that being said, I was on my stair mill a lot, or my treadmill, and I would spend a lot of time just, listening to podcasts that would teach me something, or listening to podcasts that would make, help me to feel something. And it was that introspective time that just, had me see things a little bit differently. And I kept repeating to myself, this is achievable, but it's not sustainable. And a lot of times when men and women compete, the after part is tough, because you're not going to, it's not necessarily healthy to walk around with that 6-pack all the time. So I flipped the switch on it and I got ahead of it. And I think when you start controlling things and start looking at the world a little bit differently, it opens up a whole new garden for you.
It must have been difficult during a pandemic to keep everybody motivated when gyms were closed, and the accessibility of having equipment to use to get people into shape. That must have been really difficult. I mean, I know you really your weight loss, you do gut health, you do a lot of different things, but it must have been challenging even within your own life just to stay fit.
Yeah, like, I mean, well, with me, I'm very blessed that I have, the drive to keep doing it. But I did find it's interesting because, when you look back to the beginning of the pandemic, I was looking at how many steps I did on a daily basis. I think at one point I was concerned I was in a coma. Like, it's like, okay, so I went to the bathroom today, then back to bed, and then whoa, down to the kitchen. So like it was minimal. But then I think what happened was, human beings, we all kind of survive, right? Like
Right.
we're generally social. So we found a way to socialize without being socially, but doing it socially distanced. So
Right.
working out was, for some people, it was great because they just found a way to adapt. And there's always a way. If you don't have
Right.
weights, there's water bottles, there's cans in your, you can use these things for resistance, bands that you can use. But I think that, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was offering free programs to people because I wanted to provide the accountability for them. I didn't want them worried. And I also wanted to provide some sort of community so that they knew that there was someone out there that was just sort of caring. And
Right.
that was one thing, like, we often talk about the business side, but the business side is nothing without kindness to one another. And that's
Right.
sort of like, that's my whole thing. Like, no matter what I sort of accomplish on my own, I always try to give back a little bit. And I always try to, something my dad always said, your uncle, leave a place better than how you found it. And that's something that I truly try to do, even on a small scale, try to help somebody. And, even if it's just, a friendly smile through a mask,
Right.
we can still give to one another.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so with you and your business, what would your motto be? If you were to come up with a motto, what would it be?
I want you to feel better in this decade than your last.
Wow. That's a great one. And obviously it's working for you. And I've never really asked you your age. And
I announce it all the time. It's on.
Right.
I had it on my bio on Instagram, but I think I
Right.
ran out of characters. So, I'm very proud of it. Sometimes I even lie and say I'm older.
It's it's funny. I actually was dreading turning 50, and I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It actually has given me more drive and more drive to actually become healthier.
Yeah.
And get fit. And it's been, and like you said, you do it for the children, you do it for our kids. But it's been, 50 was just awesome. I think it's a mile marker that I've been waiting for, that's made me a better person. And it's obviously done the same for you. I'm so impressed with you. Like I said, I am biased. You are my cousin, but not all cousins are as amazing as you.
Aww.
And I really think that you have helped so many people. That what you do is an amazing thing, and that's why I chose you for my first guest. I think it's been a challenging year and a half with COVID and through the pandemic. And it's why I want to come here and tell my story and have you tell your story, because we've been in lockdown and everybody's been watching Netflix and not really paying attention to what's happening in the world. And that's why, and I've seen a lot of people, their bodies have grown. They haven't taken care of themselves because
the average weight gain. Sorry for interrupting. The average
no, not at all.
Is 40 pounds.
That's amazing. That's
like a grade 2 child.
That is my son, Win.
Yeah.
That's a 7-year-old. That's
there you go.
Right.
And like the thing is, if you get into the holistic side of it, you might get into like the weight is what you're carrying. But I think that it's just been such crazy times that, like, just remember, for anyone that's going through it, it didn't happen to one person. It happened worldwide.
Right.
We've all gone through it, and we've gone through it together, and we will come out of it. And it's just wait. So, like, let it go, and,
right.
It can go, but take care of yourself. Right.
Right. Right. And that's the amazing thing. And I think people really need to contact you, because a lot of people are in a funk right now, and they are carrying around a grade 2 student that they don't need to be. And
Yeah, exactly.
and so it would be great. People need to check you out, and you are where can people find you, Cathy?
So the best place to reach me is one of two ways. On my website, www.pinkavocadonutrition.com, or on my Instagram, which you can find me at Pink Avocado Nutrition or Cathy Missios. I think either one will pull it up on the search engine. But even if you just have nutrition questions or you just want to say hi, I'm always up for a friendly conversation.
Right. That's why you and I have a friendly conversation quite often. So whenever I need to pick me up, I call cousin Cathy. That's my go-to. And I love when I hear from your girls. I feel so blessed. But
We both are, yeah.
Right. So I have to thank you.
Our grandmother would be so proud right now.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely positive of that. I think that I think our fathers actually would be very proud of us right now, knowing that we have continued a legacy that matches theirs, and I think even improves theirs.
Yes.
Right.
Can you imagine our kids though? Like our kids are going to take it to the next level.
Absolutely, which is amazing. And so
you got better lighting than me, cousin. How did that happen? Like, how did I not? Like, I wanted to get my ring light going, but whatever.
Right. Well, we have a great media company that's doing this for us, and it's an amazing company, and we're very very blessed to have them within our office. And so hopefully we're going to be doing this more than once a month. Right now it's once a month. If you like what we're going to see, I'll say it again. If you like what you see, we'll do it more often. But thank you so much for joining us today. It's been amazing. Cathy Missios, Pink Avocado Nutrition. Check her out. And I love you, cuz. And we will love you, and we'll see you in the future.
Okay, this was fun.
Absolutely. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody, for watching the City Savvy Show. It's been amazing. I am Kristan Erner. I look forward to seeing you all again. I will be podcasting once a month and hopefully more in the future. But thanks a lot.